Alright everybody, since we got a little more time to kill, still waiting on sales and dispatch to get their ducks in a row. It's like the fourth load been through that there just doesn't seem to match all the way around. First one was 300 some odd miles deadhead to pick up a load going 300 some odd miles. It ended up there in Boston on Friday afternoon for delivery. Paid pretty good, paid really good. However, there was 400 miles, 400, whatever it was. Anyway, it paid really good, but end up in an area that's not so great for flatbeds facing a weekend on a late Friday afternoon trying to get a load out of there. So I called my fleet manager and said, hey, what's the deal up there? They got anything they can get me out of there with, or something planned? And he said, no, it wouldn't be a good idea. So I rejected that. So then they sent me the same load back. So I called him and said, what's the deal? He said, reject it again. So I rejected it again. Then they sent me a choice of 3 loads. So I picked one of those and had a lot of deadhead on it. I said, I don't think I can make it there before early this evening. Don't know how late they load because there was no times put in. They're supposed to put the times in, and lately here they haven't been putting times in on the pickup days or the delivery days, and then they send you a message later and it's like, I can't make that. So I let them know, hey, I picked this load, but I don't know how late they load. If I got a load tomorrow, I can still make it to deliver on Friday. Yada, yada, yada. What do you think? And so he said, no, I'm going to take you off of that load. See, pick again. So they just had another bunch of loads, so I picked one. I still had a lot of deadhead. Paid so-so. Would get me out to California from here. Picked it. Pickup day said today, but again, no time for pickup. So I let him know, hey, you might have to load this tomorrow. Don't know how late they load. Yada yada. So he sent me a message back. Might not be able to take that one. He's gonna check on it, so I'm waiting to hear from that. So I'm gonna say personal responsibility and stuff. I know a lot of these do-good politicians think, hey, everything should just be available to everybody all the time, etc. Whether they're here illegally, whether they're criminals, whether whatever. When my son was little, I took him into one of the badder parts of Phoenix, or worst parts, however you want to say it, and I showed him. I said, you see these people walking up and down the street, hanging on street corners and stuff? I said, you know how they end up here? Drugs and alcohol and doing crime. Most of them. They end up falling in with the wrong bunch of friends, doing stupid things, not thinking about their futures, and drugs and alcohol. Even a lot of people end up that way gambling. Lots of people have gambled away their families, their homes, and all kinds of stuff. Making bad decisions about people you have around you, and bad decisions yourself on getting involved in things you shouldn't be. I said, you've always got to be careful what you do in life. And I told him as long as he kept doing positive things and stayed on a positive path, I'd be there to help him and support him. Oh, excuse me, as much as I could. The ex kind of threw a monkey wrench into all of that. Made things difficult all the way around. Um, I got hurt my arm there for a while and was out of work for 8 months. Didn't make things easy on me, set me back. Taxes have now set me back because that, of course, put me behind on. I was paying that back, and then when I went back to the company, I owed $9,000 on the truck I had. I had to pay that back, so that set me back some more. Then at the end, when my child support was supposed to end, I had to pay more money out because the service the state of Arizona uses kept saying I owed, even past the point of where the law says once your child is 18 and graduates high school, your child support is done unless there's other circumstances and things that were put in the divorce decree, which neither of those applied to me, and they still insisted I was behind and kept adding on to it even after. And I said, what's this all about? Well, that's to make sure the judge takes a look at it. I said, so you're putting incriminating evidence. You're more or less fabricating, making me look worse in front of the judge. So I think if I do get elected, there'll be a lot done with child support and how those things are settled out also, and what these agencies can and cannot do, because I'm sure they all use private collection agencies who get a percentage of the money they collect, and we'll look at kickbacks and all those types of things, dealing with that. So, we are talking about being charitable and all this. We are human beings. We're not wild animals where the strong survive in the herd. An animal's born deformed or unhealthy or something like that, it's more or less left to die. We don't do that. We're human beings. So we take care of disabled in this, and we have to make sure that we have programs to help people who cannot help themselves or have a hard time helping themselves. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I spoke of one of these before. I was at the post office, and there was a woman there, an Asian woman, who had, I forget if it's called MS or MD, whatever, but or maybe it was Parkinson's, but her body convulsed on its own. She had a hard time, maintaining control. And she was at the post office, waited in line, was getting stamps and addressing things and stuff, and she had a hard time putting her, she paid with a debit, she had a hard time putting her information in on the keypad and stuff. It took a little longer for her to do all the things, and some people were getting huffy and puffy about it. But I was pretty amazed. I was standing there, here's this woman, and she had completed a phone call with somebody telling them after she left the post office she was going to work. So I was pretty amazed that here's this person who's faced with this very unfair condition to have to deal with. That's why I say, you look at the world, and it is unfair. You look at people, some of the most unscrupulous people, who rise to fame and fortune, this and that, and it seems like no matter what they do, even if they do things wrong, life is good to them. And then you look at honest, hard-working people who don't drink, don't do drugs, this and that. And I don't know if this lady was born this way or if it's something that came later in life. But you look at that, you look at decent people, and all of a sudden they're dealt this very unfair card. And you look at all the low lifes in the world who rise to fame and fortune, who even achieve some of that fame and fortune by being a low life, by advocating sick and disgusting things. And you kind of look at the double standard Hollywood has about, violence and this and that and everything. All the violent movies they make, all the gun movies they make, and then you got all these lefties from California talking about, oh, you got to get rid of guns, gun violence and this. I don't know how many movies you can pick out where they glorify. You look at things like Taxi Driver, etc. All these, they glorify to a point these types of people, lunatics, people out for vengeance, and things like this. So anyhow, looking at that lady in the post office and thinking about, you get these people that are whining and crying. They want everything handed to them. If they don't get what they want, then all of a sudden America's racist, or America's, the capitalist system's unfair. There's got to be socialist, this and that. And here's this woman dealt this unfair hand, and off she goes, and she's working and functioning as best she can. So unless medical science comes up with some stuff, that's another thing I would contribute greatly to medical science, if elected, to see what treatments are to help people who have these conditions that hinder their lives so greatly. I'd feel much better about spending tax dollars for that than I would on nuclear bombs and on welfare for people who smoke dope and don't work and do nothing but complain about how unfair life is when they make no effort at all to do anything, and they're able-bodied and they make no effort at all to better themselves or their community. So that's the kind of person I am. I look at look at things, and you see people complaining about their lives and how bad they got it, and they're oppressed and this and that, and it's like, have you ever looked anywhere else in the world? Have you ever looked at other people around you and seen how bad they have it? What's making you full of rage out there to where you got to go and burn down buildings and this and that and everything? And there's a lot of false information out there driving a lot of people. Maybe they wouldn't have done what they did, but there's also a lot, they don't care. That's false. They just don't care. It's a reason. It's an excuse. When you talk about police brutality, several times out here on the road, I'd run into guys, black dudes. Oh yeah, I was pulled over for driving while black and this and that and everything. And it's like, come on, man. So many people use that or repeat that. It's like the same thing. When the LA was cracking down on the gangs and this and that the cops would take people, black people who were just minding their own business, not doing nothing, put them down on the ground, put their teeth against the curb, and then stomp them in the back of the head and knock all their teeth out. And I've heard that from a few guys out here. And it's like, really? I could understand, maybe, if they were arresting some violent asshole that they've had to deal with time after time after fucking time, who took a swing at them or shot another cop or something, maybe pulling somebody like that aside, throwing them on the ground and doing something like that. That I could see happening at the extreme. But just your average everyday stop, hey, let's fuck this guy up. Come on. So, but people repeat things, and even though it didn't happen to them, it's like people who lie all the time, who believe their own lies, all the friggin' time. When I trained in this business, I had a guy he told me, he's a millionaire. He's a millionaire, but he couldn't access any of his funds and all this. It was all tied up in legal stuff. And that he owned all this mining equipment all around the world and stuff, but I forget the exact reasons. He had a lot of it in South America or something, and he'd go on about he was worth X amount of millions of dollars, and I was like, really? And you're getting a job learning how to drive a truck? So, is it possible? Yeah, I guess at the extreme, but this guy was so full of shit his eyes were brown, And, he'd just go on with all kinds of other stuff. So there's people out there, I don't know if it's a mental condition, whatever, who believe their own lies. And there's people who, if you're running in circles of types of people you're running, like gangs or whatever, and this and that, who I'm sure tell lies about how badass they are and this and that, and people put on a front and all this, and then if they're dealing with cops all the time, or they just have something against the cops, they're going to make up a story. Yeah, man, one time I was pulled over and this cop did this or that, when it never happened. So you need to take hold of what's reality here. What are you complaining about in life? What are you are you doing what you can to improve yourself? If you're not happy with your life right now, what are the things you can do for yourself? No one's getting it. Some things won't happen overnight, so you gotta keep working and stay focused and do the best you can. I mean, hey, you can be starting out with a little nothing and trying to be focused and doing X, Y, Z, and boom, the car blows up on you. Whatever, you'll have excuse me, setbacks. But you gotta keep chugging away. What do you expect out of life? Are you? You live in a lot of rural. There's people live in a lot of rural areas. Only thing to work at's the log mill or whatever, this and that. And have you put all your eggs in that one basket, and all of a sudden that log mill closes down? You've got no savings. You've got no. You didn't take the time to try and maybe educate yourself in a better line of work or whatever. We need to make people aware of this as they're growing up as children, that hey, things happen in life. There's things that go on in the world that can affect you here. Trade decisions, wars, diseases, pandemics, and pandemic just means it's crossing international lines. I've not seen anybody say if you're a person, say you're 30 or 40 years old, you're in reasonably good health. I'm not talking about you jog a mile every day or anything, just reasonable, decent health. You don't smoke, you don't drink, don't do drugs, whatever. How much you really have to fear from this stuff? You're just an everyday average. Is it any more to fear than the flu? This COVID stuff? Is it actually any more to fear than this flu? They're talking, some of these athletes got it. The season might be put on hold. Do athletes get the flu? Have we had football seasons and baseball seasons and everything that still got played, even though athletes, the flu was going around? Didn't you just tell them athletes stay home? Give them some medication? So that's what I'm curious about all this, and how much is hype, and what's all the real information, etc. On those types of things. And what can we do in America? What can the politicians do? Looks like my information's coming through. Hold on a second.
Attention, a new important message has arrived.
We'll see if they've got it straight on this one.
Attention, a new important message has arrived. Attention, a new important message has arrived.
Is that it? Last one? Let's look here. We'll see. I'll let you know if we got things straightened out.
Dispatch 6619-077 has been deleted. Dispatch 6668233 has been activated.
Well, it looks like they got it straightened out. Looks like I can pick up late at this place, so looks like I'm going to be heading to California. Anyhow, what can we do as a society to get everybody kind of on the same page? That let's look towards the future. It's 2020. Let's try and figure out how we're going forward, what things we should pursue, how to put them into action. You can't hammer people over the head and make these drastic changes, etc. The politicians need to spend more attention to the nuts and bolts, to the fabric of society, instead of jumping off into all these, special interest, groups, you want to call them, whatever. The media has to start being truthful. They can't present things to incite people and say, oh, these cops did X, Y, Z and stuff, and then you see the rest of the story, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You made it sound like, like in Ferguson, that cop just slaughtered that kid in the street. You didn't tell us about he robbed a store and then resisted arrest and attacked the cop. These dumbasses defund the police and this looting going on. That's ridiculous in Chicago. They couldn't muster up enough police to round up all those people. My thing is, I'm saying now is, shoot them in the knees if you have to. Get shotguns out there. Birdshot even. If you're that worried about killing somebody, shoot them in the knees. Shoot them in the legs. Whole mob like that coming down the street or busting in a store, just start shooting. Aim below the waist. Birdshot. Something. Get their damn attention. And then they'll have to seek some medical, you're not threatening their lives, they'll have to seek some medical attention. And then you'll know they were there. So, but, anyhow, there's a lot of things we can work on to make life better and more fair. And like I say, politicians need to be held more accountable. That's like I say, with taxes and stuff, I think I'm going to do it myself. Write a letter and say, hey, look, since you don't listen to our voices about the types of things we want here in America, that our tax dollars go to, I'm not refusing to pay my taxes, but I am refusing to take any responsibility for what the United States government does with my money. If they somehow end up paying for, abortions or unjust wars, whatever it is, just stuff that we should not be forced to fork our money over to. It's like prisons, You got people watching, making sure they get the right calorie amount, this and that and everything. You get some jackass saying, no, let's have Meatless Monday in schools. No, I think before you take meat away from growing children, you're going to take it away from convicts. Because while humanity shouldn't be based on a meat-based diet, like we have meat every meal, etc., like that, it's still a necessary protein.
Attention, a new important message has arrived.
So, maybe they changed something else. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get going, and unless they change it, I got about a 6-hour ride over to where I'm going to get this load. So, you all be safe out there. Stay healthy. Get some vitamin D. Get some fresh air. Get some sunshine. Work out a little bit while you're out and getting that fresh air. Get some fresh air into your lungs. Eat some spinach. Take multivitamins, some zinc, some D. Wash your face and hands, like I said. I think it's a good idea anyway, but how much it actually does, I don't know. I just wish everyone would wash their hands after using the bathroom. I'm so tired of and I'm tired of these Hollywood people and these people held up in their houses doing these late night shows and all this. How bad they got, and other people whining that you have to keep restaurants and stuff closed and everything. Look here, we're out here on the road. We got to use public showers, public restrooms all the friggin' time, which aren't clean. I mean, truck stops do what they can, but they can't help. You still get. Explain to me this: why some jackoff has to go and use a toilet and piss all over the toilet seat and the floor and stuff? Why? Explain that to me. Or leave a toilet unflushed or clogged, etc. Why? Did your parents raise you that way? And talking to lady drivers, it happens in the ladies' restrooms too. Now that's really, but we're out here, we're exposed all the time. And I'm much more afraid of catching something by some jackoff who doesn't wash his hands after coming out of the shitter and goes and gets a coffee or a fountain drink or walks through picking up bags of chips or some kind of crap like that in the truck stop or at the Walmart or wherever. And I'm not saying those truck drivers are dirty. Not you see them here and there occasionally, but I know it happens out in society. Lots of people, for whatever reason, are raised that it doesn't matter if you wash your hands after using the bathroom. So, you're wrong. It does matter. You might not care about ingesting or touching something that your shitty hand or you got urine on your fingers or something, and then touch something, but nobody else wants it. You don't want anybody running up and spitting in your lips, do you? Same difference. I don't want to be touching stuff after you've used the bathroom and didn't wash your hands. Your family's ideology, whatever, might think, hey, it's okay not to wash your hands. Fine. As long as you're not involving anybody else, go stuff your face. Go make a sandwich with those hands you didn't just wash after using the bathrooms. Risk getting yourself sick. Don't risk getting other people sick. And that's like the mask laws out here. If I gotta wear one, I'll put it on. I ain't, making a shit fit out of it. It's a pain in the ass. Don't think it's necessary everywhere. Don't think it's necessary that restaurants can't be open. Bars, maybe, because you have people more mingling and touching and stuff like that, and alcohol makes people stupid. So maybe bars you gotta lay off for a little bit, but restaurants, etc. I mean, Walmarts and all these other places are open. People are going in. I don't get it. Hair salons, etc. Why are you killing these people who have small businesses? Little bakeries, whatever it is. Why are you hurting these people by not allowing them to open for business if they take precautions? I don't understand that. And there ought to be a follow-up. There ought to be, in each and every single state, people who follow up on this and go after these politicians who have singled out. Like, I live in Arizona. According to my son, I don't know, but Governor Ducey closed down a whole bunch of stuff and everything, but it said it was all right to still go play golf because he's a golfer. So, that's not right. That's not fair. Somebody has to go out of business who has their own hair salon or nails or whatever, whatever they're doing. Has to go out of business, but you and your buddies can still go play golf. The golf course can stay open. Excuse me. Somebody needs to do a follow-up and make these people responsible for the decisions they've made. They're all right with hanging cops out to dry at any discrepancy, complaint, anything like this, making cops be responsible. We're going to make you politicians be responsible too. And while I'm at it, you cities that defund the police, I want you to know something. There's a lot of talk out here among drivers and among trucking companies that are talking about boycotting all the cities who defund police. Not just for our own safety, but in show of support for the police departments around the country. You understand that? So not only will you be unprotected because you get rid of your police departments, you're going to starve too. So you might want to rethink what you're doing. Because if you want to be insane, that's your business. But the rest of the country doesn't have to go along with it. And a lot of us aren't. So wish you all the best out there. Stay healthy. God bless. Good luck. Adios.